I built myself a log cabin, so I chopped down trees, and I got like 18 logs, and I was like, yes, I'm going to make it before the sun goes down and everything like that. Got in there, and I thought when I got in there, I'd be able to go to sleep or save the game. And I didn't realise you have to make a bed.
That's right.
so I got in there like, yes, just in time. Perfect. Got in there, closed my door. I snuggled up like, okay, where's the floating icon? There's got to be a floating icon here, like rest or sleep. And no icon. And then the screen just gets darker and darker and darker.
Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of everyone's favorite podcast, the Critical Arcade Podcast. I'm your co-host Nick.
And I'm Dave.
Hello Dave.
Hi Nick. You well?
I am well. I don't think you're well.
Of course I'm not well. How am I going to be well? How is anybody well after spending nights upon nights trying to survive cannibals?
That's right.
Like,
cannibals?
That's a normal thing. People find comfort. Anyway, I don't know, ladies and gents, you might know which game we're talking about now. Like the forest.
No preamble.
no preamble at all.
Let's just get into this game. So Dave,
because you asked me how I was. It's your fault. You asked me how I was after spending countless nights trying to not be eaten. How am I supposed to be okay after that?
Okay, when I asked Dave if he wanted to be part of the Critical Arcade Podcast, he said, hell yeah, sure, talking about video games, let's do it. What I didn't mention was that we would be playing horror games.
Well, yeah, I kind of knew that would be, that they're out there. I just didn't know they'd come up so regularly. There's a lot of games in the world, and I'm open-minded, and I have the problem, I'm sure there's people out there who have the same thing. When I get immersed, I get immersed. So, if I'm playing a superhero, I am that superhero. If I'm Fast and the Furious, I am the greatest driver on the planet.
Family.
Yeah, exactly. I am part of the family, the strongest force in the universe. But if I'm hiding in a forest from cannibals, then I'm actually hiding in the forest from cannibals, and that's not a nice feeling.
No.
I get that immersed in it.
That is... Oh, no, that's not a good thing. You're right.
So I stay away from horror games.
This isn't the first horror game we've played.
It won't be the last,
game.
sadly. Yeah.
No, far from it. Granted, I wouldn't say this is peak horror.
No, it isn't. No, I agree. It isn't. No, this is the survival horror, right?
Yeah, this is the unsettling, disturbing type of horror. The only real horror game we've played on this game was Halloween last year, where we reviewed Fear.
Yeah, that was the proper one. That's correct. Yeah, that's the typical horror game, the genre, so to speak.
I don't know if I'm speaking just for myself here, but somehow that game is less scary.
Oh yeah, it's less scary than this game.
Did it just did the horror aspects in Fear just age poorly?
No, Fear, you had bullet time. You got to slow down. Right. If I had this in the forest, this game would have been a breeze. I'd have slowed down time. I'd have smacked a few cannibals around. I'd have gone and made a raft or a house. This game would have been a lot easier. The Fear gave you that ability to kind of detach. This, like I said, as we're talking about, this game does not give you that ability. This game...
Unfortunately not.
Like I say, this game was published by the company Endnight Games, which I looked into, and this is the only game they've done. But... strangely enough, the team behind it are actually in movie graphics. Did you know that? The team behind Endnight Games, they worked in the Hollywood industry.
Really? What movies have they worked on?
And
do you know or not?
I didn't write this down, but I did. Let's just say I recognised them.
Okay,
like some of them will be the designers for, say the World of Warcraft game, when they did the shadow effects on one of the scenes. So they actually have a movie background, which then they decided to open a gaming company, which is kind of cool. Who hasn't had that thought? But of course we don't have the skills, but these people did. So they actually went forwards and thought, let's make a game. And they did a bloody good job, to be honest with you.
I think so too. The other thing you said, this is the only game they've made.
And then, of course, the one that released recently.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah,
The
literally
sequel
just the
for
other
this
day,
game,
right?
The Forest.
Yeah.
That's right. The other day, the sequel, Sons of the Forest, got
Yeah.
released, which I'm guessing is just a bigger, better version of this game.
Yeah, I'm hearing good things. I have only really read, but people are enjoying it. You know,
Yeah.
But there was like, because I'm a weird person, as you know, thus the podcast. Do you know what the main character's name is in The Forest? Your name, your character's name.
Gump.
No, Eric LeBlanc.
What?
Yeah, Eric LeBlanc.
Eric LeBlanc.
Yeah, which translates to Eric the White. Which
That's
I thought, I instantly thought, well, he's Gandalf. He's Gandalf's mate. So this should be a breeze. If I'm a white, a white level of wizard, I was like, this is perfect. I am Eric the White. I should be like just strolling through town, lighting up everywhere I go. So it was just a weird. I instantly got Lord of the Rings vibes. I don't know why.
Did they intentionally do that, Eric LeBlanc, Eric the White, just to sort of get the point across that he is not one of the cannibals? He is
I really
a white
don't
man.
know. That'd be really strange to put that in there, but possibly.
It would. That's
I don't know.
very
That'd be
strange.
really odd. Maybe they're just fans of Joey from Friends.
I
And
guess
they just
so.
wanted, I don't, who knows? Could be any of these reasons by all accounts. But I was reading about it. This is now being developed for VR, by the way, which couldn't be the worst use for this game. Don't get me wrong.
Worst
I'm
and
immersed.
best.
Yeah, I'm immersed as
Wow.
much as it is, let alone with an Oculus Rift or a PlayStation VR headset, letting my head literally being on a swivel every time I hear a noise. Nah, that's not for me. But I understand this game would be perfect for it. Like
It would.
almost too perfect.
Unless
Yeah, go
if
on.
you're susceptible to anxiety, real anxiety, stay away from this game.
Yeah, I agree entirely. This is, this. Like I said, should we jump straight into narrative then?
Let's do it. First of all, what narrative?
Yeah, that's one of those.
There's nothing. There's nothing.
Well, let's face it. You do crash, and your child is taken away from you.
Cool. That's 10 seconds.
It's 10 seconds, there's no doubt. And then, you're right, but it's one of those, in theory, I kind of get it. When you're doing a survival horror, if you're emphasizing survival, the narrative, I guess, in theory, takes a backseat. Because,
That's right.
But I understand, in today's age, it's not great. Yeah, you can imagine the story is you got to go find your son and save him from the cannibals. There is a little, I don't know if you looked into it, and I don't want to put too much spoilers in there, but there is a couple interesting twists at the end of the game that I won't mention now, but narratively it does actually add a little bit more depth to it. I don't want to say it now because they're proper spoilery. If I tell
and
you,
this is
it
actually
kind of
a game
ruins.
that people would go out
Yeah,
and play.
exactly. Because you
Got it.
don't want to know the big things. And
No. We'll talk about it afterwards, or in a bonus episode even.
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, exactly. And of course, you've watched South Park, right?
I have.
And his son being called Timmy couldn't have detached me any further. Every time it was like, Timmy! All I thought was, I've got to go save Timmy! And, which helps when you're playing a scary game to think it's only Timmy. Like, it's Timmy.
No, I would anxiously be analyzing the tree line. I'd hear the winds howling, leaves rustling.
Yeah,
I'd
right.
hear a twig snap, and all of a sudden, out of the silence, Timmy!
Yeah, exactly, right? Which granted, now you mention that, I'm actually tense. The idea that out of nowhere he'd go, Timmy! Don't go, I love Timmy. Like everybody should. Timmy's the greatest.
I love Timmy.
But, you're right, narratively, my Timmy must be dead. Because...
Oh, for sure. Mine too. I abandoned my Timmy.
Yeah, I must have been months in, and I don't even know where Timmy is. Big red guy took him. I've not found any whereabouts. I found, I think a part of his toy, and some random, bits of paperwork that did, music when I picked them up, but gave me no knowledge of what the hell that meant. It was, but maybe I missed things, which I'm pretty sure I did, because I know that everybody else in this world sees a cave at nights when you're surrounded by cannibals and think, oh, let's go explore the cave. I don't. That's just ridiculous. I'm going to stay upstairs. The caves are for people who are brave and don't, who
Not
do
me.
want to die.
Enjoy.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I went into one cave. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'll never split it. And there was mutated babies and this
Oh, yeah.
You played Fallout 4, right? Remember the centaurs, these octopus things that spat ink at you?
Jeez, it's been a very long time.
But there was one of those things down there, but it was just made out of legs and arms, and it was just, and so I was like, nope, I am not going down there. I'm alright. I was happy killing birds and
Cheers,
just
GG.
Yeah, exactly.
GG
I'm right. Sorry, Timmy. Yeah, I guess I'm a bad dad.
But that's the good thing about kids. You can just make more.
That's exactly right. But you're right. The story, I'm guessing it's a narrative choice. You can play the game for hours and just do nothing. You don't really care.
That's what I was going to say. If the narrative is so lean, there's almost nothing, then the gameplay needs to make up for it. Or
it's actually right.
Another aspect.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I missed something as well. When you're on the plane, ladies and gentlemen, you start with a plane crash, and that's how you land on the island with the forest on it. Yeah, that book. Is that Timmy's book you take from him? Timmy's asleep.
Okay. Are you implying that if we did not take the book away from Timmy, Timmy would be surviving and be alive and well?
In theory, I didn't think of that. Granted, taking the book from him kind of feels like a bad move now, I'll give you. But that was his book, wasn't it?
Is that what happened? Is that what we did? Are we the reason Timmy is dead?
Yeah, well, because we took away sod you, Timmy. I've got to survive. But don't you take his book from him? You take his book, right? I'm not mad. Right. Timmy's asleep, and you grab the book because I guess you're scared it falling over or something, or falling on the floor, and then the plane crashes. And then, if you look in this book, there's skull chandeliers and effigies, and I'm thinking, why is Timmy reading this book? He's
on a plane.
10. Yeah. What kind of weird father is it? You know what, Timmy? I think you know how to make fires and make SOS out of rocks. But
you're old enough now.
Do you know how to make a chandelier out of the bones and the skulls of your enemies?
Oh, you don't? Here's a book then.
That's right. Happy birthday, Timmy. There you go. It's this is the most in-depthly creepy survival book I've ever come across. It's handy when you happen to be in a scenario where you're fending off cannibals and trying not to die, but that's a very niche market, which this book was aimed at, kids. Granted, this is a world we're living in. I don't know what's going on. This is very, Spartan, that, here's your book and go survive in the wild until you come back a man. But yeah, this book was creepy, and it was a kid's book, to my understanding. Handy book, though, I must admit.
Besides, I'm going there's a load of things happening with this narrative.
Yeah.
It almost seems like there's a ton of setup that was done on this island. I found a boat.
Yes, the boat, the yacht. Oh,
the yacht, yes, I found a
saving
yacht.
grace, that was, yeah. Go on, yeah.
And on the yacht, there was... It almost seems like there was a mutilation on this yacht. There was a severed head on the table.
You know what? I missed that. I saw blood. I actually didn't see it.
There was a severed head on the table. I thought, hell yes, hot yacht. The cannibals aren't going to get me there.
Yes.
I went in this yacht.
Yes.
Lo and behold, there's a head of a cannibal looking at me as I come in. And I thought, of course. Why would there be a safe place in this game?
No, exactly. I liked the yacht. The yacht was my bed for many a night because why not? It's a yacht. And there was, like you said, narratively... did I just do a pun there? Why yacht?
Why not? It's a yacht.
But then narratively there were these little mysteries. Like the yacht had a door with a key card that you couldn't access. Right? You saw the little door.
Did you ever get past that?
No,
me neither. Me neither.
And I didn't know. Are we supposed to find out who owned the yacht somehow?
I think I read something that there's a key card deep in one of the caves.
Of course, yeah. Well, I was never going to get it then. Yeah.
I'm not going to get that either. But I'm thinking maybe that key card can open this door.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then I guess was that narrative? So something to do with the yacht was somehow connected with the plane crashing and the abduction of Timmy, which is that's a broad stroke. I can only imagine. Timmy's gone. Any story either has to be where to find Timmy, how to save Timmy, or in theory, a bit of lore to why there are cannibals on this island.
Yes.
That's
okay,
the only
that's a
real
good point.
like story devices there are. Right now, you've landed.
I can't think of anything else.
Yeah. So, but there was like, I get they're building the survival mechanic because in the real world, that's exactly what it'd be. Like, if we did find a yacht in real life and there was a door, you're not going to randomly find the key on the bed or out near the fireplace and stuff like that. No. Like games always place them. So I get it, but it was, like you said, narrative, there was no real direction, which I think was the point. But when you're looking for some story to follow and it's not there, kind of makes you feel a bit lost and kind of makes you, I don't know about you, when I was a few hours in, you kind of think, what am I doing? Now,
That's
granted,
it. No, I was thinking that a couple of minutes in. Where should I go? I know this is a survival game.
Yeah.
You should feel a bit lost and directionless and then take initiative from the book you stole from Timmy.
But that's what Subnautica did well. They always gave you those radio signals.
Yes, they did.
Like they give those little tidbits.
Yes, they gave you a bit of objectives, and each next objective would just be a couple of inventions or discoveries. Yeah, exactly. Later.
And it would always be like weeks apart, but it would feed you a little carrot on a stick for you to go, oh, I'm supposed to go there next. With my
it would drip feed story.
Yeah,
narrative.
And this didn't, which
none.
Like maybe I'm losing. It's not supposed to. Like I said, I haven't played many survival games, so maybe I don't know the genre much. But there wasn't anything there, and like, how do you complete a game when there's nothing to story to finish?
I don't know. I didn't. I watched a video. I was lost.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to build something, and then I watched a video of a guy telling me how to build this, and I was looking at his island, and how all of the trees were chopped down. He built himself a fortress, traps everywhere. He walked to the other side of the island, and there was another fortress.
Well, he put some time into it, damn.
Right?
Poor Timmy.
That's
I abandoned Timmy, but that guy, he moved on too fast. He was developing property. That's a bit much.
There's a ton to do.
Yeah,
but
there is.
No direction at all. No narrative, no objectives. You are 100% alone, left to survive.
And like I say, the worst thing is you pick up these items that you'd expect to like unlock, not necessarily a quest, but give you a clue where to go next.
Yes,
but there's nothing.
A photograph.
Yeah, I picked up the manifest of the plane, and it went, and I was like, oh, this must be important. No clue. Like, nothing. I found no reason for it whatsoever. But maybe there is. I'm sure there is. But I couldn't find any reasoning or like a trail to follow. Nothing. But like I said, narratively, it was a bit of a letdown. I'm not entirely sure if it's supposed to have a strong narrative or not, but it's one of our criteria, so we've got to rate it on. I don't
think so. I think they really just made something that was they how much I'm going to say this. They intentionally left narrative vague and almost non-existent, and focused on the gameplay to get the gameplay top notch.
Which you can imagine from an indie studio, especially a startup. You sacrifice something to polish something else, especially when you've got a big budget.
We've had this conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
In what was it, Axiom Verge? It wasn't another Indie 500 episode.
Yeah. Which it makes sense when you haven't got that big budget and the big time frame. You've got to make cuts or leave things unpolished just so that you can get the game out, which I can understand. I'm curious, visually, what did you think? Visually, how did you think the game was?
I think visually this game was quite strong, right? If a game like this can immerse you, then I think the visuals succeeded in what they're after. Right?
Yeah, it's one of those things when, like you said, when the gameplay and the immersion is really high, you can actually forgive, say, basic visuals. And I mean this in a very weird way. Basic now is very good compared to what basic was like if you played any of like the Thief games or the original Half-Life. Even basic now is still very good. You see that's a tree, you can see that's a turtle, you can see that's a bad guy. And this game had basic graphics, but it didn't detach yourself from what you were doing within the game.
No, it did exactly what it needed to do. You could see from just looking at the forest what was the resources that you needed to build what you needed. Right? If you needed to build a shelter, you needed sticks, logs, and stones.
Correct.
And immediately you can recognize those pieces from the forest that you're in.
Yeah, and they don't have to sparkle or light up and stuff like, like the games like they always have to shine or something so that you can see it. You can actually recognize them for what they are, be it berries, squirrels, birds, and all those things. And they do, and the graphics, like you say, they work. They're not, they're not perfect visualizations of a forest and the perfect representation of a swallow or whatever birds that there were on the island. But it gets the job done. It's not amazing, but it was good enough, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
The only thing that truly, I didn't know if this was the point of it, or it was a bit... When it got dark, this game got dark. Like,
when
nighttime came.
Proper dark.
I kind of understand it from like a scary aspect, because it was. But, we're so used to like Skyrim, and then everything is like moonlit. Or in Elden Ring, where everything, you got the big tree lighting up the sky and you got space. So everything's kind of dimly lit. But when night came here, you couldn't see the hand in front of your face. This was
dark.
This was freaky. This was freaky.
It's very intentional. I can tell you that right now. It is very intentional. A big chunk of this game is inside caves. So they know what they were doing with the darkness.
Yeah. But I started off the game, I thought, okay, I've got the day, I found a beach. I thought that was a good idea, because then the water's at my back. I've only got one area to look at, so I think, okay, clever. I built myself a log cabin, so I chopped down trees, and I got like 18 logs, and I was like, yes, I'm going to make it before the sun goes down and everything like that. Got in there, and I thought when I got in there, I'd be able to go to sleep or save the game. And I didn't realise you have to make a bed.
That's right.
so I got in there like, yes, just in time. Perfect. Got in there, closed my door. I snuggled up like, okay, where's the floating icon? There's got to be a floating icon here, like rest or sleep. And no icon. And then the screen just gets darker and darker and darker. And now I was looking out the window, but now I can't even see the window. And then I kid you not, stopped playing. That was too much, because I felt so safe that I'd built this badass the cabin, and I had the sea behind me, and I was safe. There's nothing could go wrong, because we all know that in these games, the weird stuff and the enemies always come out at night.
It's always, it's always nighttime.
And then my safety just got pulled away from me so quickly. I was like, nope, this is tomorrow's problem. I'm not going to play this anymore.
From your description, I'm my
terrifying.
Is tingling.
It's terrifying.
It's terrifying. It really is. There's most likely, right? There's nothing out there.
No,
there could be, because there are cannibals on this island. But just looking out this window and it getting dark.
It was so wrong. It was so wrong in many right ways, but in my way, it was just so not me.
Something similar happened on my game.
Yeah, go on.
After I started, I was thinking, okay, cool, got everything I needed. It's daytime. Let's get this going. I found a lake.
Nice.
And a little, what used to be maybe a settlement next to this lake.
Mm-hmm.
So if I settle next to this settlement on the lakeshore, I'll be fine, because there's a settlement with some roofing, a tower I can climb, a lake for water. I'll be fine.
Fresh water,
but it's still in the middle of the forest.
Yeah.
So I checked the book, and there's a shelter, right? You can build a shelter.
The little leafy one.
Yes, the little leafy one.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
It's just a couple of logs, like 4, 5, whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
So I built that, and this little floating icon that you talked about did appear for me.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know if you eventually did make a shelter.
I did, yeah, I did.
There's a buffer period before you can use the shelter.
Yes, correct, yes.
I don't know,
correct,
you need to be...
That little timer thing, yeah. No, I know
yes,
what
you need to be tired enough, I guess.
That's
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I built the shelter, I built a little fireplace, and it started getting dark, and I was thinking, okay, it's getting dark. I've got my shelter, I've got my fire, I'm fine. I'm completely fine. And then it just got darker, and it got darker, and I was thinking, okay, this is dark enough, thank you. And just before it got too dark, between the tree lines, I saw something move.
Don't say that. Yeah, go on.
I saw something move, and while I was looking in that direction, for a moment I didn't spot anything, and then the next moment I saw... I'm never going to get rid of this memory. I saw a humanoid, which now it's a cannibal, just bounding on all fours.
Yeah, that's right. The ones that crawl around like rabid dog type ones, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. Just bounding across the tree line. I don't think they saw me because they went from the one side of the screen to the other.
No,
but it wasn't one. It was one and then another and then another, and it was almost like they were a pack.
That's like I say, we'll get onto the gameplay later, which you did very well. Because I had two that just watched me. They were in the tree. They were in the tree line, and I was just building something. And then there was these little squeaky noises, and I turned around, and they were just standing there watching me. And I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "Do I kill them? Can they go away now?"
No. That's the worst. That's the worst. After, man, I'm terrified. After I saw these bounding cannibals, I thought, this is too dark.
Yeah,
this is too dark. I need to crawl in and sleep away the night. And the worst feeling was when I looked at my shelter, and that timer wasn't finished.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, my worst is for me is when I noticed that you could build traps. And I was like, so sleep isn't even a safe haven then. Is
Why
that
do
what
I
you're
need
saying?
traps?
Yeah, so not only when I sleep, I've got to set up all these like Arnie Predator-esque traps to skewer all these people because they're going to attack me when I sleep too.
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I need. I get it. It's the premise of the game.
Traps.
Yeah, it's the premise of the game. But damn, come on, give me. That's why that boat. When I found that same yacht, that was so great.
And you said you slept there.
Yeah, I never got attacked there. It was the best.
Okay.
I'd have stayed there.
Yeah.
I'd have fished, stayed there. I'd have, I don't know, said goodbye to Timmy, had a bit of a prayer. And to be honest with you, it was a boat. I should have left. Why would you... Granted, after the few months I stayed on the island knowing Timmy was dead, then I should have left. But no, he never leaves. But I guess that makes him a good guy.
I think we can safely say Timmy is dead in both our games.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Timmy died a long time ago. Sorry, Timmy. But yeah, we moved on. Okay, audio-wise, what did you think? Unless you got anything more visual.
Very good. The audio in this game is... They, managed to realize the most important thing for a game like this. A very specific game like this. And that is that less is more.
Yeah, it's the absence of sound and then sound, just like Death Space and stuff like that.
Exactly.
That is so much better than either too much or lots of a scary sound. But yeah, you're right. Like the amount of times that I'd turn around because I heard something and it was just a squirrel, or it was just a bird or something.
This game is almost another perfect example of how much audio lends toward a good video game. Right? In this case, it's not an epic soundtrack or excellent audio design. Right. This is simply a case of less is more. You would hear the winds, like we both said earlier, leaves rustling, and you hear a twig snap.
That's right. And it's literally that. It's more times than not, it's a squirrel. Or
that's right.
A turtle or
exactly.
A bird. Yeah, exactly.
But the game doesn't need to absolutely overthrow you with cannibal zombies or flesh monsters.
Right.
No. A twig snap sound effect will get your blood pumping just as much.
Yeah,
and one thing is insane. There's
one thing I don't know if it was a audio decision or not, but Eric LeBlanc, he doesn't talk. You know, all I keep thinking to myself is I was on an island, like there, and there were people. You know, you'd initially think, "Hi, what are you doing? Go away." You know, piss off. But he doesn't talk, which kind of makes it eerier. I'm not saying from like a narrative perspective, but the idea that he's so quiet all the time just makes every other noise so much more loud.
It does even make me feel maybe Eric LeBlanc is a psychopath, and this is the life he's wanted all along.
There was a weird aspect to it. To like, first of all, you know what. I wrote this down, but it's a bit silly. Like, Eric LeBlanc, I don't know what his job was, but he's basically Bear Grylls crossed with Arnie. Because he He carries 2 logs at a time. 2 entire logs.
He does?
When you chop down a tree, you can pick up 2 logs at a time.
You can?
And then, yeah.
I just picked up 1. You can carry 2 logs?
That must have taken you so long.
Jeez.
And then later you build a log sled, which was very handy. But he picks up 2. That's got to be like, I don't know, 200 kilos? And he's the handiest person on the planet. But anyway, we digress. The audio sound on this. The fact that he didn't speak just made it a bit eerier. I don't know if it's intentional or I'm just picking at something I picked up. But it makes you feel lonelier. You know, you're walking around and you're building these things. But without any narrative, like, ooh,
I didn't even think about that.
I should make some food now, I'm hungry, or something like that. It actually makes you feel a bit more lonely. Because you're playing it, and you're not making a noise, and your character's not talking, so it builds that atmosphere of no sound again, if you know what I mean.
Excellent. That is excellent.
It's very, like I said, this game is, for people who love, like, scary survival games, this one is top-notch, be it so far visually and audio. It's all there. You know, this creeps me out.
It really is. Maybe except for just the narrative, but if it's just creepy vibes you're looking for.
Yeah, this
no range to build exactly what you want, go where you want.
Mm-hmm. Oh, another thing I forgot to add to visuals, and I'm not sure if it's part of visuals or gameplay. I absolutely, weirdly loved the inventory interface.
Oh, right, with the blanket on the ground.
Yeah, I don't know why, but there's something about visually seeing what you have in a normal way, like you would lay it down on a blanket or in front of you. We're so used to those interfaces where you just got this inventory screen and unlimited bag space, and you move this and you eat that. But everything actually being laid out in front of you and then you combining had such better immersion for me. And the fact that you're limited to the amount of things you can pick up and stuff like that. I'd added to the scenario, the fact that you collected bricks and batteries and some lighters, and it was all laid out in front of you when you went for your inventory screen, which I thought was really clever visual design. I don't know, that just really clicked for me. I don't know why.
No, it makes complete sense. I mean, it's different. It's very different.
It is, that's true.
It's satisfying. You can just pick up anything.
Yeah. And then you played around combining it with a stick or with a piece of cloth or with leaves and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, we're probably going into gameplay now. Anything audio you want?
No, I'm done with audio. But speaking about gameplay, I think this is the main reason anyone, besides the scary fact, would be playing this game. The gameplay for this game. Right off the bat, after that 10-second intro and your unfortunate, already dead son is being taken from you, they just let you loose. Yeah.
This is what we were saying earlier. This was the part of the game they polished, whilst leaving some other bits a bit lackluster. This is the game this was the part that was important to them. And
how polished it is.
There's so much there. Like, I'm scared of these games. I'm not, but if you took away the darkness and you took away the cannibals, I would play this game as a let's build a cabin, let's go fishing, let's go make stuff and do.
It's very peaceful.
Yeah, it's so much there, and there's so much for you to build and to make and to forage and to trial and error, and you've got to clean your water by boiling it. If you're a person who enjoys camping or rambling or going on long hikes, it's all there.
Bushcraft. If you enjoy bushcraft,
exactly, bushcraft, and it's so in depth and oddly fun to build a house in a tree, or to build a log cabin, and all these other little things like special fires and special this, and it is so well polished and well thought out, the whole gameplay thing in this.
Yes, I think people into bushcraft is really going to be into this game. Besides the cannibals, besides the scary aspect, this is going to hit with a lot of people. It's just a shame that I don't think a lot of people know about this game.
Yeah, actually, I'd only heard of it because our Indy 500 generator put it in front of me.
Right.
I'd never heard of it before then. Now, I'm not a horror game person, but I do like to keep up to date with news and progression in gaming industry, like yourself. I'd actually never heard of this game. I've heard of all the others, the Friday the 13th and all the other games that have the same type of survival aspect. This one did slip completely past me. And did it slip there? Like I said, you kind of enjoy scary games.
No, I consume a ton of YouTube, and there was a time when a lot of YouTubers played this, so it was in the back of my memory.
Okay, yeah.
I knew about this game, and I had some friends that played it, so I knew about this game, but no, I've never played it myself. I do think, what was I going to say? I completely forgot my train of thought. Sorry, carry on.
Another thing I liked about it, and again, I don't know if I'm seeing things that aren't. The combat was really simple, which kind of just added to the fact that you were just a normal human. You know,
what did you say? He's a Arnie Bear Grylls.
That's right. He is an Arnie Bear Grylls. But he's not Geralt or Conan the Barbarian. He's once you've made a stick or a spear. Granted, he's pretty good with a spear. I'll tell you that. He's throwing wise, but you go up to them and you just bonk them. You know, bonk, and it felt like what if you had one in your hand. You're not going to be this Omega rolling out of the way, dodging, parrying, stabbing, riposte. You're going to just swing and hope you connect. And there was that kind of aspect to the combat to some degree, which I don't know if it was a design choice or it was just a happy coincidence, but it was very basic.
Now that I think about it, you're a dude that lived in the suburbs with your son Timmy. You just picked up a hatchet, probably for the first time.
That's right.
And you're up against an island full of cannibals who've lived in the wild their whole lives.
Yeah, exactly.
The cannibals would surely just decimate you.
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
You know, it was quite funny when you said, now that you think about it, I in my mind I thought you were going to say, now I think about it, if I was in a fight, David, I actually would be very good. I would riposte. I've been playing games for years, and so those skills must have been transferred. I'm pretty sure I'm at least Geralt level of agility and swordsmanship by now.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was just how my mind was working. You're
just
right.
Call me the Butcher of Brackenfell.
Exactly. But you're right. You just picked up one of those axes for the first time. Can you even imagine being surrounded by cannibals? You can't. like I said, it's just not a scenario hopefully anyone's had to deal with. But I did like the combat being that simple. It added a degree of realism, and I don't know if I'm just finding that because it was there or it was an intentional aspect to the game. But I did enjoy that as a gameplay aspect to it. You know, you were just swinging for dear life because if you got cornered by 2 or 3 cannibals, you were kind of dead quite quickly.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. But, I mean, speaking of these cannibals, the developers of this game actually put in a difficulty setting called Peaceful, where there would be no cannibals at all.
Yeah, that's right. I was just thinking to myself, why didn't I choose that selection? Why did I not choose that difficulty? I'm reviewing the game as is. Okay, yeah.
You could essentially play this game the super peaceful way that you wanted to.
Yeah.
If anybody's looking for that experience,
that's right.
It is here.
Oh, and another thing we've got to add is that it actually has, and I think it was not the original one, but it got updated a few years ago. It has quite a decent multiplayer.
Oh, that's right, multiplayer.
It's got up to 8 people. So you and 7 of your friends can actually build a fort and traps and fight cannibals and find. Ooh. Are you all the father of Timmy? Because that's one.
How
strange
many
family.
That's super weird. Now that you say, okay, there's an island that you all fly to, and you can join up to 7 of your friends, and you can build cabins and build this utopian island. That's Animal Crossing.
That's true, actually. That's quite funny. Minus
just
Timmy.
Animal Crossing.
It is basically Animal Crossing. Yeah, that's true. You go with your friends. Start a loan company like what's his name? Nook. I don't really.
Yeah, Tom Nook.
You could be your own Tom Nook.
You can start Nook Industries.
Exactly.
Sell islands.
No, it's true. But I can imagine how much easier this game would be with friends.
Yes.
Because two cannibals come up and you just all gang up and beat the living crap out of them. It's actually quite funny. But another thing, I don't know, as you progressed in the game, which bugged me, but I understand it, the cannibals got better. They got more aggressive. They got smarter.
Did this happen? The further you went into the island, or did this happen when you go into caves?
No, this actually happens the more time you allowed lapse. You know, the first ones...
Okay.
The first cannibals you come across are actually kind of like starving and kind of like... And
a bit stupid.
Yeah, rabid and kind of feral, right?
Yes.
They're not...
Okay, get it. Yeah, I've fought a couple of those, that's right.
And then later on, the cannibals are kind of more like a caveman-esque. They're there and they stare at you. They don't know if you're good or bad. They shout at you. And then they slowly develop into like tribal cannibals who are hungry and have like leaders and
can communicate.
Yeah, and communicate and work as a team to attack you. And they'll even help the people you've hurt.
Suburban dad.
Yeah, that's right. And they'll even help the people you've hurt and drag them out whilst other people take your attention.
Oh, wow.
So they
Was this made by an indie company?
Yeah, right?
This is sounding more and more like a big game.
Exactly. And that's one of the people, if you look on the internet, they do praise. The AI is basic, but the things they've added to the AI, you just don't get in other games.
Wow.
Like the idea, some players have suggested you can see the cannibals try to communicate with you. But because they don't speak the same languages, they don't get anywhere. So they figure because you're not talking to them, you're hostile. So they suggest that the AI actually considers you okay at the beginning, but because you don't talk and you keep cutting down the forest and eating their food and stuff like that, you become hostile over time. So environmentally, they get aggressive towards you because they are scared in some degree. Huh. And the AI kind of has that aspect to it. It might be not that in-depth, but they have built that aspect within it a little bit.
This is incredible, cool. Actually. Yeah, this is really good. I'm impressed. I really am impressed. This game, what seems to be just a tiny game, you survive in this forest, which really is the entire premise.
Yeah, this game's only 5 gigs in size.
Right? It's turning out to be just mega.
Yeah. No, it is. It is very well done. Yeah, again, it's one of these, we've said it again in the past, but indie games. Indie games get that luxury of doing the things they want to and doing them properly. Where a lot of mainstream big corporations, and we've all heard the stories, they got crunch times, and you've got deadlines, and you've got staffing issues, and you've got...
Yeah, and games aren't made by a person passionate for the story. They're made by committees.
Yeah,
right?
Correct.
Executive committees.
And things get dilated, or your view of one thing isn't the same as the proper view of one. But when you get an indie company where it's just a certain amount of people and one story and one direction to go.
Yes.
That's why indie games are doing so well, because you've got that. It comes out beautifully because you're all on the same line. You still have deadlines, and you still have some crunch, and you still got financial restrictions, but you can see, like we said before, you can see the love. You can actually, coming across on the screen, you can see what they wanted to do, albeit sometimes a bit rough around the edges, but you can see it. Which a lot of big games now, as we know, they're losing that, albeit even Game Freak with Pokemon.
Or they've lost it entirely.
Yeah, they've lost
Ubisoft, they've or EA for a very long time.
Yeah, of course.
Nothing. These games are simply there to sell microtransactions.
We don't need to get into that, machines. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. But indie games like The Forest are really what's really moving this industry forward.
No, 100%. They're love letters to the industry compared to the money-making corporate other games. Not all of those games, but most of the games. I'm sure everybody knows. They're out there, and they're ruining some IPs. But anyway, we digress. Anything else on gameplay that you
No, we can move on to performance.
Okay, what did you get? Anything performance-wise?
No, the only thing was... I had some frame drops sometimes when I heard a twig snap and I turned around
span
quickly.
Around, same thing.
It had to render the entire other side of the forest. Some frame drops.
Yeah. The only thing, sometimes, I don't know if you noticed, I'd make something in the inventory screen. Yeah. And then it would be made, and then I couldn't select it. I had to go out of the inventory, then go back into the inventory to select it.
No, that's a bug.
It's a very small little thing, but every once in a while I'd make some armor or something and then try and equip the armor, and then it just wouldn't highlight. That highlights the armor thing, and then you can... But that's a very nitpicky thing, and... I had to put it in there because we have to look at performance and bugs, and it was there. Just like your frame rate thing, it doesn't destroy it, but it slowly just diminishes the immersion a bit when you like, okay, let me see this render and see if there are any trees there or if there is someone there. But apart from that, these are very little things, and performance-wise, it was pretty decent.
Truly, I think we talked earlier about the AI. We touched on the AI, and I think that would fit much better in performance.
Yes, that's true. Yes, true.
The AI for these cannibals...
You're right. Yes, you're right.
They might be just dumb cannibals at the start. The AI for these things are quite smart. I also would get a cannibal that would run up to me and stop a safe distance.
Right,
and then look at me.
And make
trying
noises.
To deduce, am I safe? Am I hostile? And you're saying later on they come in groups or teams.
Oh, they do.
They help each other out. They communicate with each other. They've got a leader. That's good AI.
No, it is. It's like I said, this is a good game. There's no doubt. I'm sure, ladies and gents, you can hear we're not going to be giving this game a bad score by any extent of the word, because it's good. It's good, and price-wise, it's a relatively old game now. But
9 years. Can you believe that? 2014 was 9 years ago.
And I found, literally just as of recording this episode, on the PlayStation Store, it was $5. It was on special. I'm guessing it was on special because Sons of the Forest just came out, so they like to build some momentum.
Still, $5 for this.
Yeah, so $5 for this is a bargain. I know that on Steam it's still $20, which is a bit meh. It's an old game.
I don't know. $20 for what could be hundreds of hours with friends.
If you like you said, if you like the I can't remember the term you used, the camping lifestyle, the trailblazing lifestyle, then yes,
bushcraft.
The bushcraft. There is a lot there. There is, if you like that, and if you like the survival genre, I'm sure Timmy is somewhere doing something.
I don't know.
I don't know
about that.
I'm sure there's got to be a reason Timmy went. And then if you want to find that out, maybe there's the value for money there. But, price-wise, it's worth a go. It really is. Specifically, if you want to do the prequel before Sons of the Forest.
You know what?
Which is supposed to be quite good too.
I'd say this is cheap enough. You can even buy your friends a copy. This game is cheap enough that you can buy multiple copies to give to your friends. So you can all just enjoy this game cooperatively.
Yeah, and that must be well worth it by all accounts. It'd be a great laugh.
Yeah.
And for $5 or 20, depending on your wallet, it is worth it. There's no doubt. And I'm just thinking now, Sons of the Forest. Does that mean Timmy survives? Sorry, it just dawned on me now.
Whoa!
Wouldn't Timmy be a son of the forest? Because I don't know. I'm guessing there's some sort of storyline to Timmy out there.
Whoa! And if in plural, sons of the forest.
What's he? I don't know. See, that's worth $5 to find out. Just there, is Timmy the son of the forest in regards to the prequel or the sequel? Sorry. But yeah, it just dawned on me when I was just realizing.
Oh man, okay. There's a lot that could be read into that.
Yeah.
We're far from the first that might have had this epiphany.
Yes, yeah, I'm sure that's kind of the point in the name of the second one, right? Yeah.
But regarding performance, I think the AI was good. The unfortunate couple of frame drops. Besides that, the value for money is incredible. $5.
Yeah, I know. $5 is nothing. Like,
if this is your thing, as we've said this, if this is your thing, this is some great value for money.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's hard to even buy a couple of coffees for less than $5 anymore. So you might as well buy this game and have it for life and enjoy all the multitudes of things and just miss out on a coffee. It's literally that kind of difference.
And miss out on a second coffee and get your friend to join you.
Yeah, exactly.
How incredible is that?
No, exactly. It is well worth it entirely. It's a good game. Like I said, I don't know. We keep saying, what did we score it then?
Right. Yeah, we scored the forest accordingly. We put the numbers on a plane. It crash landed on an island with a forest full of cannibals, but we went and saved it. Unlike our son Timmy. When we saved it, the scores matured into the letter grade rating for the forest of C.
Well, yeah, which is for an indie. You've got to remember it's an indie game, so that's not too bad.
That's right. That is it. It is an indie game, but we're giving it the same score as Super Mario Sunshine, which is very far from an indie game.
No, exactly right. And like I said, and it's their first indie game. Like, no one's going to make their first game and it's going to be perfection. At least I don't know of one.
If it wasn't for the bare bones narrative of Timmy.
No, same here. Our score would have been massively higher because it was too bare bones. This is a great game. This is worth it. Pick it up if you enjoy being scared. Because
if you're
that
the
was
type that
fundamentally my feeling throughout the whole thing.
If you're the type that gets anxious, like really anxious, maybe don't play this game.
Yeah, I am still outside at night. If something cracks, I'm thinking cannibal.
No, don't say that. No, I'm going to do that too.
It could be a cat, but no, my mind doesn't do cat anymore. No. It does cannibal. Doesn't matter what it is.
It's a cannibal with 4 arms.
Yeah, that's all it is. They're all trying to eat me.
If I hit twigsnap.mp3.
yeah, exactly.
Right,
but yeah,
thank you.
It's a good game.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Critical Arcade podcast. If you can leave a review, that would help us massively. But you could also check out all our social media channels on Facebook and on Instagram. Please go check out our Instagram. It's very good. You could also catch us on email. My email is nick@criticalarcade.com.
And I'm Dave at criticalarcade.com.
But besides for your email, Dave, where can we follow you?
Well, strangely enough, as a weird coincidence would have it, I actually do own an island of cannibals. I know, it was just a weird coincidence in playing this game. And I just so happen to have the ability to send you there. So, if you do follow me, and, if you do brush up on your survival, maybe get this weird book this guy had, I will send you to an island of cannibalistic Scotsmen. Don't know why I'm going Scotsman, but it's going to be
cannibalistic Scotsman. Don't follow Dave.
Yeah, it's probably the best advice, to be honest with you. It's fundamentally the best advice throughout the entire one. Send me an email, just don't follow me.
You can not follow Dave, and you can rather follow us on Patreon for exclusive content where we post bonus episodes each week and a whole ass show called Critical Cinema, where we take this entire formula for Critical Arcade and do it for films, which is nice. I will watch Jaws, I promise.
Yeah, and others, don't worry. I'm going to make him watch plenty more than just Jaws. He hasn't watched Jaws. E.T. He hasn't watched Close Encounters.
No. Before I get bullied, Dave, please tell us, what is next week's episode?
Now, this is finally, I get to do one that I've been excited, but me being an old Taku, this is the 1995 SNES classic Chrono Trigger.
Hell yeah, Chrono Trigger.
Have you ever played that? You must have played that.
I have played Chrono Trigger. Not very far. I think I got to the 3rd time jump or whatever.
Now this is if anybody knows it, I'm sure everybody must have heard of Chrono Trigger. This is a classic among classics. This is a Japanese RPG that kind of birthed. Not birthed, there were others, but this was the big boy. This was the SNES super hit. This was great, and I literally look forward to just being able to pick that up again and enjoy it with everybody listening, because this game is it's a doozy. It's a good one.
For the people that don't know, which I think is most, the way our sheet works is we built a sheet with close to 2,000 games. And each week we just ask the sheet to spit out a random game of those 2,000, those 2,000 games.
That's right.
So when we got Chrono Trigger out of 2,000 games, man, that was a good day.
Yeah, that was it. I don't know why out of those 2,000 games they keep wanting to make me play scary games. I'm guessing it's trying to be nice to me now. It's like, okay, it's not funny anymore. Have Chrono Trigger.
Here's a treat.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what this is. This is going to be a treat of an episode, and I very much look forward to it.
Oh, wow. Thanks for listening on this week's episode of Critical Arcade Podcast. We'll see you next week. Cheers.
Cheers.